It's time for a group project. Are you ready? Let's do the vintage boardwalk quilt together because you know it's more fun together. Hey Kimberbell fans, Cristin here, and it's time to start our first group project. We've decided on Vintage Boardwalk by Kimberbell Designs, and so we're going to start on the very first block, which is called Swimming Suit 1. It's on page 10 of the booklet, and we're going to quilt it first. We're going to quilt as we go. That is optional. As I mentioned in the group, I am going to quilt. You can take it to a long arm quilter after you're all done, or leave it unquilted. Do whatever works for you, but I am going to show you how to quilt as you go, and hopefully you can join me for that. So some fabrics that we're going to need for today. We need the background fabric, which is this red houndstooth, and the cut sizes I'll add in the video, and the blue dots, navy blue with white dots, and then we need the white with little tiny red dots. So just a warning, when you're looking through your fabric kit, I first found this one, which is white with little like teal dots, and I thought, uh-oh, I don't have the right one. So keep looking through your fabric kit. They're pretty similar, so make sure to get the one with the little red dots. And a really good guide is on the first couple of pages, it'll have all of the different fabrics, and you can just confirm, like it'll say for Swimming Suit 1, if you go to the white with red dots, it'll say Swimming Suit 1 in section 1. It'll tell you, it'll confirm that you're using the right fabric. So that's if you're using the fabric kit. You can use your own fabrics. I'm also going to use the official threads for Vintage Boardwalk. That's optional as well. You'll also need the embellishment kit. We don't need it just yet, but you will need it soon. So make sure you've got the embellishment kit, the fabric kit, the CD booklet with all the designs, and then get your fabrics ready. So one thing that I always do is I add on the back a fusible mesh stabilizer on the back of all of my fabrics. You can see it makes them more crisp, and it wards off puckers. I do it on the applique pieces as well. And that's completely optional. You're going to have batting behind your main fabric if you're going to quilt. So it's not super required, but it's what I do and it works for me. It keeps everything crisp, and it also makes it easier to cut without having fraying all over. So do what works for you. I use fusible mesh stabilizer on the back. In my hoop, I generally like to use tearaway. You can also use just regular mesh stabilizer cutaway, and that works great too. Do what works for you. I like tearaway, especially for quilting. It's easy to get off of the back, but do what works for you. All right, so we'll go through the whole process. We're going to start just on block 1, which is on page 10 of your booklet. So let's get started. As I mentioned, I am going to quilt as I go, and I'm going to use the Kimberbell quilting designs. So for today, it's wavy number 3, and you can get that from the Kimberbell website as a direct download, and I will add a link. So one thing I want to point out, the most important thing to know about quilting and choosing the quilting design is the size of the final cut. So it always says at the beginning, we're going to start with our fabric for this first block. Our first fabric is going to be 6.5 by 10.5. That's what we're going to start out, and that's what we'll cut for our starting, right? But after we do the quilting, after we do the applique, then we're going to cut it down to size, and that is going to be 4.5 by 8.5. So that is what determines which size quilting that we're going to choose. So if our final cut size is 4.5 by 8.5, that means that we want a quilting design that is 4 by 8. So you can use any quilting design that is 4x8. It's not super easy to find them, just a warning, but Kimberbell, all of theirs come in 4x8 and they're so easy to use. You'll see we're going to do a whole tutorial for that, but choose a design that is 4x8 for this first block. Okay, as I mentioned, we're going to start with the quilting first. So that would be this wavy 4x8, wavy number 3 by Kimberbell in the horizontal direction. So we're going to start with that. If you want, you can merge the two designs. This, as you can see, is the wavy quilting, and then it's got the applique on top. So you can either do this and finish, and then jump to the applique while keeping everything in the hoop, or you can merge the two. The outcome is exactly the same. It doesn't matter at all. A quick note about choosing your thread color for quilting. You can do white. You can do something that's going to match your main fabric. So you could choose a thread that will blend right in. That's what I did on my very first quilt, but then I branched out more and I saw other quilts that had the quilting really standing out, and I like that. So on Love Notes, I used all different colors. Each block had a different color and it was a contrasting color, and I did that for a couple of reasons. One is that it makes it a lot easier on the tutorial for you to be able to see what I'm showing you when you can see the quilting. The other thing is I really liked the look of it. The overall look when it was completed, I thought it was really fun. So again, on your main fabric, you can choose a color that's going to blend in. You can do an overall color all the same, white or a light gray or something. I am going to do blue for this first one since we're doing wavy number 3. I'm going to choose this Air Force blue, it's called, from I don't remember the name of this. I'll add a link, but anyway, that in the thread kit, this bright blue, and I'm going to use that as my background for the wavy, so it'll stand out and it'll be fun. And so let's do this. We've just completed step number 3, and I just wanted to show you, this is what gives us our 1/4 inch seam allowance. So step 1 was our placement stitch for our batting, and step 2 tack down our batting, and then number 3 gives us the placement for our main fabric. And you can see that it's further out, and there's our 1/4 inch seam allowance. We will not have batting in our seams of our quilt because of this. Kimberbell thought of everything. So this is great. Step number 4 is a tack down of our main fabric. It's actually just a basting stitch that we'll take out before we cut the block, or as we cut the block. I often just bypass this step because my fabric tends to lay straight anyway with the batting under there. But if you worry at all about your main fabric moving, then you definitely want to use this basting stitch. So that's step number 4. All right, we are done quilting our first block. Yay, us. Now keep it in the hoop. Most important thing, keep it hooped, and we'll go ahead and start on the applique straight from here. The design is going to go ahead and center right in the middle of the block for us, so we're all set. Okay, we did it. Block number 1 is done. So now you do your part. Add in the comments a picture of your block when it's completed. Remember, it's more fun together. Everybody share. Do your block and share a picture.